Well, welcome back. You know, trust is arguably one of the most important things to have in a relationship. But is it possible to actually rebuild that trust once it has been betrayed? Well, joining us today is Dr. Bill Baker from Grace & Associates to talk to us about whether or not this is all possible. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here, Maggie.
Okay, so when we talk about trust, how important is it? And is it something that can be, reformed after trust is broken?
First of all, trust is a vital part of any relationship. We have really two basic choices. We can choose to refine or build the trust through a couple of things, truthful communications and trustworthy behavior. We can also choose to betray the trust through what we say, shall we say, verbal violations, or what we do, or that could be behavioral betrayals. So if we betray the trust, we automatically place our relationship in great danger.
Okay, so you brought something with you here today, which is a little prop that helps with this demonstration.
When I work with couples, for example, after a major betrayal, I help them to use this. For example, it goes between the two people. It points your direction, my direction. So that means we both have to work at building trust in the first place or rebuilding it if it's betrayed. The offender has a part, and the offended also has a part. Now, this acrostic, I use it to illustrate this way. T stands for truth. Meaning if I'm the offender, if I'm not willing to be truthful and honest, nothing else is going to work. So I have to commit to truth. That leads me to R, realization. I have to realize what I've done and how my behavior affects the relationship and how it's hurt you. And I acknowledge, I admit it, I'm sorry, I have no excuse. Then that leads to understanding, the letter U. I understand why I did what I did. What was my motive? What was my goal? How was I vulnerable? If I don't get that, then how can I reassure you that I would never commit the betrayal again? And then the S is for strategy, coming up with a plan of action. I call it a relapse prevention plan, containing things like what is my goal and what are the things I will avoid doing? What are the things I will do? There's a commitment statement. Then there is a place where I sign and date it. That's my strategy, my plan of action. This T is for tracking. Once I get the plan, I have to track it or monitor it to make sure that I'm fulfilling it. So that's a 5-step process that the offender needs to follow. It's a roadmap for rebuilding trust.
Well, let's talk about the offended, because once your trust is betrayed, it's very difficult to trust again. What can the offended do?
Rebuilding trust from the offended person's point of view is very difficult. One thing, well, if I'm the offended person, one thing I need to do is to assess the evidence. Look at what's going on. Not take it just for the words, but the actions. What's the evidence? Then, if I'm satisfied with the evidence, then I can accept the other person's apology. Then if I accept the apology, I can apply, I use the word grace, that is extending forgiveness. If you offended or betrayed me, you don't deserve anything like forgiveness, but I choose to apply grace. I give you what you need, even though you don't deserve it. And then after that, I start abolishing the walls I've built up to protect myself. And this abolishing of walls may take a long time. And if you're the offender, it'll take sometimes months and years to regain or rebuild the trust that had been betrayed. It's a long process.
It is a long process, but it's very important that you note that trust can be restored if you put the work into it. Dr. Bill Baker.
It's worth the effort.
It is worth the effort, definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be back again. Thank you.
All right. Right now.